Good evening, Kathleen. You're the first person in. We just got on here live with Encounters. The late night UFO. J Lock, welcome. Alan Major, welcome. E-Rock, thanks for joining us. Everybody come Chesno. Everyone coming in here. This is the #1 late night UFO talk show all over the world, right here on social media, not on cable TV, not on CNN News, not on NBC, MSNBC, or Fox or all those crazy channels, but right here on TikTok. Kathleen, good to see you. I'm CmdrAleon, the host of WESU-FM's NPR Pacifica radio show, Ashtar Command Radio, every Sunday morning, 11:30 to 1 o'clock for 20 years, doing Ashtar Command Radio on a real listener-supported radio station, and also now on here on TikTok since late last year, doing Encounters, the #1 late night UFO talk show. Holly Wolf, welcome. Sarah Davis, thanks for the likes. Chesnos, thanks for the likes in the earth. Everybody coming in here. I posted. Hold on a minute. Hold on, folks. We'll be right back. We posted last night's show on YouTube this morning, and we also posted this morning's show on YouTube as well. Joy to you. Welcome to the show. Romantic Pluto, welcome to the show. Penial Pearl, Commander, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you as well, and good to see everybody coming in here. It's a little bit early for me. Usually we go on at 11, but we're doing an earlier night. I'm going to go here till about 12:15 a.m. in the morning with the show. I'm trying to get on a little bit earlier on the late night. Beautiful Soul 67, welcome to the show. Shayla Johnson, welcome to the show. Field Cap, good to see you again. I think it's Dottie, Marie, Murray, welcome to the show. I'm looking at names, user 586. All the new people coming here, please share and like. Commander, I need to pick your brain on entities called the Shore. Can you explain what the Shore are? At least if you're picking my brain, leave a little bit left so I have some left. Just kidding. But yeah, you can pick my consciousness. Mia Lestage, welcome. Sunbiz87, welcome. Madel, good to have you with us. Thank you for the likes, everybody. And Sarah Davis, good to have you with us. Hello. I'm looking at all the names. Joy to you. Do they come to rural areas primarily? Nope. The spaceships come wherever they wish to go. They can come to metropolitan areas. They can come to rural areas, suburban areas. It's really not one place or the other. Unfortunately, I can't explain because it's a new message coming through. So you could be getting a telepathic message. If you can tell me what it is, I might be able to try to help you out if I can tune in on it a bit. Rishi Radam, I think it is. Shore, very clearly calling themselves the Shore. Can you explain where the Shore are from? I've never heard of them before. And we are just totally excited to be here, always. Alan Major, beam ships are as some call them. Yeah, there are things called beam ships, too. I'm just reading comments here as we get started. We love reading people's comments and questions. Steve Borg, good to have you with us. And please share and like. This is the Late Night UFO Talk Show. I'm also a contactee from the 60s for new people coming in here or heard about the show. On TikTok, on any media, this is the place. Everyone's into the UFO thing. The religious people are talking about it in their own religious 3D world. But this is the show where you're going to talk about this stuff, talk about your encounters. You're going to talk about your UFO sightings around the world. Hi, I'm Heather. Good to see you. This is the place where disclosure happens. This is the place where disclosure happens. And hopefully soon, we're going to have some information about Corpus Christi, Texas. So our contact, I'm Shy, a couple of days ago, I gave her the information about a major sighting that happened in Corpus Christi, Texas, at 8:12 p.m. in the evening by a friend of mine and his wife on Facebook. And there is a short video, but it wasn't clear enough. There wasn't enough video. He didn't really decide to record it. He didn't realize it was going to be a big deal, and it was. And so he didn't record really a whole lot. But he wrote down every detail of what he had seen, so I gave it to my DoD contact, and we're going to find out hopefully soon whether the people that are in the DoD watching UAPs actually saw that this was happening. So for those that don't know about it, there was a major sighting in Corpus Christi by two people, maybe more, that were seeing this. There was about 800 to over 1,000 UAPs. They were going towards the Gulf of Mexico, and he detailed his information saying, based on the course of where they were going towards Africa into the Atlantic Ocean. So we'll try to get more information as we can on that. Papalace, good to see you. Lance, Merriweather, good to see you. Everybody coming in here. Jason, welcome to the show. Everyone that's new, please share and like. Let's tap the thing going. Let's get activated, motivated, and cosmically inspired. Cadessa Light, welcome. Killa Kelsey, good to have you with us. How can I send you an audio recording? Would love to your interpretation. You can send me an audio recording to my email. Actually, you can send it to me on message on here. Message me or email me. I'll give you my email directly for the show. Send it to my email, and I'll take a listen to the recording. Okay? Oh, you're most welcome. Good evening, everybody. Oh, Mia Lestage, welcome. Soupy, 586, welcome, Soupy. Katie, thanks for the likes. Captain Planet, good to have you with us. Hello, Isabel. Good to have you with us as well. I'm very conscious that Katie, thanks for joining us. Tina, Brooklyn, New York. I think that's what it is, Brooklyn, New York. We're going to be doing interviews. One of the things about the show here, as we're getting amped up here, me getting amped up here, everyone's getting amped up, is that we always find it interesting the people we have on our show, the guests that we have, the questions we have. Jose, welcome. Maria Moonborn, thank you for the likes. We always find it very interesting when we have people on here. We never know what they're going to talk about. It's all focused. We want to keep things focused. If you're here, we're really focused on spiritual UFO areas, contactee experiences, visitations, anything in that realm. It could be crop circles in your country that are appearing out of nowhere. So we're really interested in all these aspects of what's going on, And we love talking to new people. RJ, welcome to the show. Not that we don't want to talk to people who we've had on before. We do. If they have some new stuff to share. Royal Roy, good evening. H. Wags, good evening. So we always like to keep it fresh, because I know there's a lot of new people finding the show that are contactees, people that are having visitations by the space people of different kinds. Gabe 2316, welcome. Squashy, good to see you. Happy hump day. We're doing well. Thank God we're going to get over Wednesday into Thursday. Laura in Chicago, thank you for the share, Laura, always. And we will be doing interviews with people. I think it's Adminnet. Welcome to the show. Big Girl Storm, good to see you. It looks like things are freezing now. What's going on here? Okay, no, it's not freezing. Hello, everybody. I have a hypnotical question. Matt, go ahead with the question. We'll try to answer it the best we can. If we don't have the answer, we'll tell you. And let's see who's out here. We have a guest coming. And we're going to ask the guest to turn on the camera. If you come on the show, make sure you're dressed. So some people say they're in bed and sleeping. So if you're coming on the show, please introduce yourself, turn your camera on, and tell us what in this area of ufology, in terms of spiritual levels, whether your contactee had UFO sightings, visitations, we want to know. And now we have a new guest. And good evening. Welcome to Encounters. Can you turn your...
Yeah. I'm coming. Here we are. And say, ta-da!
There you are. Hey, there he is.
How
Good
you doing,
evening.
bud? Good
It's good.
evening.
It's been a while. I think you've been on before. I don't know if they allow kids on the screen, so we got to be
Oh,
careful with
he's peeking. Get up.
that. How you doing?
Bro, I don't know where the pomegranates are. I am good. It's been a rough day today. It's been a very rough day today. We buried Mom today.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. She was in so much pain and screwed up for so many years. It's
Yeah,
almost a relief,
yeah, yeah.
which is
Well,
horrible
welcome
to
to the
even
show, man.
say.
You know,
Yeah, it's great to be here.
and
Uh,
I'm. So, what's happening out your part of the planet?
uh, you know what? Everything's really calm over here, except everything's so expensive. My gosh, super
Yeah.
expensive. Everything's expensive. Here, I'm gonna get out of this room while my son's yelling for pomegranates. Crazy child.
There could be worse things, right? So there
Oh
you go.
yeah, yeah. No, he wanted some pomegranates earlier. Uh, Let me see what's going on in this side of the world.
What's going on
Well,
with UFOs, ETs? Anything interesting?
a lot of crazy weather patterns.
Yeah,
Noticed a lot of crazy weather patterns, and I don't know if anybody else notices this, but the moon jumps on each side
yeah,
of Mercury. Like I watched it. I have it videoed one night. It coming up, and Mercury was on the left side of it.
yeah,
Then like 2 nights later, it was way the hell up to the right of it.
yeah,
And I don't think it moves that quick because you could sit there and watch the moon raise on the sunrise, or yeah, the moonrise, sunrise, whatever it is, to the east.
yeah.
You could sit there and watch it move every morning where it's not in the same place.
Well, someone told me this is interesting. You're saying that, and I think it's Dick Winn. Welcome to the show as well. We have multi guests here, and we'll get to you in a little bit. It's interesting you should say that. Just put your speaker on mute for the moment. That I had a person on this morning. I did a morning broadcast on my show. So Dick Winn, if you can put your microphone on mute for a minute, we'll get to you in a little bit. But welcome to the show. So this person, Dell, had the situation you're talking about where this was like a yellowish object, and the object was originally maybe it was a planet, but it wasn't. It moved on the other side, like after 3 hours, it moved to the other side of the sky. The moon passed it, and it was still there. So it moved from
Yeah.
one area to the other area. What you're saying seems very similar to my guest this morning, which is that's not. Don't smoke on the thing because they'll get me. TikTok will
No, I'm
be
not.
okay. So it was moving like you were saying on your story. It moved from one end of the sky after 3 hours, and it was on the other side of the sky, from the right to
Yeah.
the left. Now, no planets don't do that, and then they stay still, and all the stars move. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I
pretty.
find it very interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how it works. And I don't even know if it was. Oh,
I mean, it could have been
man.
planet. It could have been a planetary thing. You know, there's no. That's a tough situation to be in. But I'm
Yeah.
just sharing what I heard this morning. And if I keep getting more reports from people of this happening, then I think we might be looking at something different. But for now, you're the second person that had the same thing mentioned. And one person saying, "Dude, the Earth is rotating." Well, I know the Earth is rotating, but we're talking about an object that looks like it's supposed to be moving with the other stars staying in one place after the moon goes by it. It's still there for 3 hours, and then it's on the other side and not moving at all.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
don't
it
make no
could.
sense to me.
There's so dude Silver Fox. I'm going to use the word dude. You know, yeah, we know the Earth is. I've been around the block a few times, cosmically speaking. I know about the sky and how things move, but it's possible that there's
I,
something going on here.
I
That's
got a
different.
question. I got a question for you. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. I just thought about this the other day when I was driving with my wife. And you know, the Bible talks about the firmament above and below and this and that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then like in Genesis it talks about how he breathed life into man or mankind or whatever he was breathing
Yeah.
life
Whatever.
into.
Yeah.
Because just in the
Yeah.
beginning of it, it's just a description of what he was doing. It's not what he was creating.
Right.
Well, think about this, okay? If we are in a water droplet, A single water droplet that has had an air bubble put inside of it. And the reflection of the sun off of the earth, off of everything, is actually reflecting up into the firmament like a convex lens. And what we see, because you could see all the continents on the face of the moon, that's the dark spots, is the actual firmament, or the dark spots are the land masses. Well, if you do a test, it's a simple test. You just take a single water droplet on a petri dish and you look up through it with a microscope, a magnifying lens, something, and you could see that everything comes down to one single point. All light gets focused to one single point. And then if you go in and you look at the moon through a telescope, you can sit there and watch ripples go across like the moon.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's ripples in water. And then you watch rockets skip off of it.
Right. So
It's a trip.
yeah, one of the things I teach people on my show, I've been a contactee since when I was a kid, when I saw the space people. And one of the things
I
my
used to get
contact
abducted a
tells me,
lot.
oh, we'll get into that. We'll talk about
Oh,
that.
dude.
I didn't realize that. But,
Oh, yeah.
the space people that I deal with, the Ashtar Galactic Command, which are the highest levels of galactic spiritual beings from many different planetary worlds, they have told me it's an illusion for people to think that the only reason why we cannot travel in other planetary systems in the way that they do is because they're way eons and eons more advanced spiritually.
Yeah.
And people think there's a blockage around our planet that prevents us from going. That's also a lie. There's no blockage. We can
Okay.
go where, if we had the ability to be more spiritually advanced and technically more advanced as our space brothers are, we'd be able to go
Yeah.
throughout the whole universe. It's just that we're somewhat primitive in many ways, only in the terms of not having that ability of knowledge. Now, at the same time, my DoD contact shared with us, and this is top secret information, that we've been towards Jupiter and back within 25 minutes. We have a spacecraft that we have taken. This is a true story. This is all top secret. And I've shared it on my show. Our contact is called Amshai. She comes on. She's with the DOD in a different part of the country, and she has high security clearance. So what I'm sharing with you and with people that have not heard this is that we have the technology, not NASA, this other group within the DOD, which is very secretive. They shot off a few weeks ago a man's rocket with an Air Force pilot that went in 25 minutes over towards Jupiter, and it came back within 25 minutes. So when people on this planet think, well, when is NASA going to do? How are they going to do it? NASA can't do anything. They don't have what the other group has, because they have stuff that's being developed that is so far advanced that people think, oh, we have a rocket, we have a space station. I know things with our contact that people have heard. All my shows are taped on YouTube. And if you ever listen to the shows, I don't know which one it was, it's divulged that we sent out a rocket with a man who was with the Air Force trained, and he went all the way out and back in 25 minutes. Now, it's over 170,000 miles, roughly, to where this Jupiter is.
Supposedly.
Well,
Supposedly.
no. I'm giving you direct information from our DoD contact. I'm not giving you opinions, theories.
Okay.
They have specific information. So I'm not trying to tell you this is what it is. I don't
No,
have to
I
go
get it.
back to the recording. You know what I mean?
I get
So
it.
if I was just telling you a story, that's different. But I'm telling you things that are actual fact. But you said you were abducted, and also,
Oh, yeah.
and we're going to bring Dick Winn to come on here in a minute. Tell us
I need to
about
change
when you
my
started
screen real
getting
quick.
abducted. Yep.
Well, I was young. I was young when that shit started happening. It would be a dream. It would be like a dream. And in this dream, I'd walk down these corridors, and there's all just metal walls. Everything was just metal. Steel looked cold, looked like a dark pewter color. It was just bad. It was just all bad.
Yeah.
Well, there would be like a door, like remember on Star Trek, how they would and they would open.
Yeah.
Well, it would do that, but it was silent. It had no noise at all.
Wow.
And I would go in there, and it would sort of, it was like an entity or a feeling would
Mm-hmm.
send me over to a wall. And this happened over and over and over again. There would be like this black, like smoke or fog over a hole in the wall. There was like this hole. And I would be driven to put my hand in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would either get stung, or I'd get cut, or I'd get burned, or I'd get froze, or scratched, or like something bad
Yeah,
would
something
happen
happened. Yeah.
every time. And it would do that room after room, but there were no two rooms that were the same. Every room was different
Hmm.
all the way down. And this went on for probably 6, 8 years, probably into my teens.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I went into my teens. And then also
When you,
like being able to hold my breath, and I was able to float wherever I wanted. That was a trippy
now,
one.
now, when you say you're abducted, because there's a difference, and I'm going to bring Dick Winn in here. I keep saying that. I will in just a minute. For part of our show. When you're abducted, was it a negative experience or were you having a transformational experience? Because if it was abductions, the abduction is usually something where you're forced into a situation that you don't control, where they put you on a table. The traditional documentaries talk about this. I knew Bud
Yeah.
Hopkins, who was a hypnotist, and he wrote many books, and he hypnotized people that were abductees.
Yeah.
And they would talk about the most famous case was a woman who was taken out of her apartment in New York City in a high skyscraper and beamed into a ship and was abducted. So that's an abduction. In your
I,
case, did you feel that was an abduction or a contactee experience?
I want to say it was both. I want to say it was both. Just for the fact, like, I wasn't scared when I was
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
Like, I wasn't scared at all. I had no fear whatsoever as far as,
Hmm.
like, if something bad was going to happen.
Right.
That was never the case. So it was, I don't know. It could be either. Um,
What What happened to your camera? You're like, you're
oh,
people
hold
saying
on.
he's blue. They,
Yeah. Yeah,
they're
I am
seeing you
blue.
blue. Okay, there you go. Well, yeah, you're right now. But they were wondering what
Now
was
I'm going
going
to
on with
be
your camera.
really, you'll like this. You'll like this. Say, we're doing a disco party. I
Oh,
like
you're
this
doing
one.
some of the TikTok images. All
Yeah,
right, I
why
got
not? They're here at our disposal and they're free. Why not?
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't feel like it was ever like anything bad. It was more like a
Yeah.
research thing. Um,
Hmm.
because like I was really alone as a kid. My youngest sister is 7 years older than me,
Hmm.
so I
So
I spent a
did you feel, and I'm going to bring Dick Winn in now too. Did you feel that did you see any beings? Did you feel like you were on a ship or going through a portal into another dimension? Could you get into that? I think you had some other experiences.
yes, no. It was always through like I want to say it was a window, but like a mirror, but like a TV almost. It was
Hmm.
like they were
Hmm.
there, but they weren't there, but they were able to walk in and out of it.
Right. So do you think they were kind of modern? I have a feeling this is what I'm getting. I get this. If you watch my show enough, I read people's energy and their stories, even if
Uh-huh.
it's 11 years ago, even when they were a teenager. I get the feeling you were taken through another place, but the space beings, and there were space beings, were invisible. They were watching how you reacted to everything you were experiencing. They
That's
were
what it
studying
was.
you.
It was like an energy. They
Yeah,
they
they were
didn't have a
studying you.
physical form.
You
It
know?
it, it
Yeah.
hardly wasn't a physical form. It was like a bunch of static electricity put together, and it was just like this white buzzing light.
Wow. Yeah. They were
But it wasn't
studying you.
bright.
You're being studied. That's what
Yeah,
I'm getting. The word
yeah.
studied, that's the word that keeps hitting me. My contact off planet from the Astro Command says they were studying him. They were studying him. So you were being studied, not in a negative way. They were studying.
No,
There's something about you that they had to study. Your whole consciousness they were studying. Yeah.
it was a young age. My grandfather and my uncle both. they knew that I was like mechanical about things. There's a
Mm-hmm.
picture of me. I was like a year old, 14 months old, sitting
Mm-hmm.
out in the driveway at Grandpa's house, fistfuls of tools, taking apart stereos, old
Mm-hmm.
TVs, stuff. And I was like 14 months old. And I was already mechanically working on stuff. By the time I was 10, I was welding. I was doing all kinds of
See?
crazy stuff. By
Yeah.
the time I graduated high school, I was a machinist, a sheet
Yeah.
metal,
See?
blacksmith, welder. Like,
Yeah. You have
so,
a greater ability than the earth-based stuff you're doing. I'm
yeah,
getting that you have, there's a point now because things are starting to happen on the galactic level all over the planet,
yeah.
that you're going to be a part of something that you have. These beings want you to work with them at some point. I don't know who they are. They're totally positive because you had no negative experiences with them. What I'm
No,
getting is you're going to be working with them. So I've got to tell you now that I know you'll be working on some level with them in terms of they're saying advanced technology of some sort of new technology for a peaceful world. That's what you're going to be doing. I don't know if you already know this, but that's what I feel strongly that they are conveying to me. The commander's telling me this, my contact. You will be having a contact soon. I want to bring Dick Winn in. Dick Winn, can you turn your
yeah,
mic
come on
on?
in.
We want to bring Dick in here.
Hi
Good
there.
evening.
Can you hear me?
It's always good
We
to
can
have
hear
some
you.
dick in the room.
Welcome to the show. And you're, and where part of the world are you in? What part of the world or the planet or the country or whatever?
I am in central Pennsylvania. I'm a little bit north of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Uh, if you kind of reflect on that, I'm right off of 81, which runs between Harrisburg and north all up through New England, etc. So I'm just right off the interstate there, north of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Well, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you with us. This is Encounters, the late
Well,
night
thank
number
you.
one UFO talk show in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you must have a story to tell, so we're going to go right into it. I like to do just jump right into the stories. Can you tell us what's happening or what did happen to you?
I appreciate that. Like I said, I've been trying to get onto your show live several times. Here again, I'm not the most technical person, if which would be hard to understand. I retired from the Pennsylvania government 22 years. I was an IT spec, but here again, when you work for IT, you do what they tell you to do. People ask me all the time to fix their computers and stuff, and I said, look.
Hmm.
I don't fix computers. I said I write software and stuff, and I
Hmm.
did what they told me to do. So I'm not a computer scientist to fix computers anymore. And they're much
Right.
different. They're much different now, and 22
How's
years
it feel?
later than they were when I got them. Anyway, I want to tell you, I found your guest there very interesting. I will bring up the subject of abduction here later on, but I want to tell you
Okay.
the physical aspect right now. When I was about
Okay.
when I was about 22 years old, I grew up in West Texas, and I grew
Hmm.
up on drilling rigs out in the desert of West Texas. The first time I had an experience, it was probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, still bright outside. These two very bright glowing masses came across the horizon, and me and the four other guys on the drilling rig were watching this. The drilling bits just turning real slow, so we had some time on our hands. And what was very astounding is these two objects, one trailed the other by, I don't know, a
Hmm.
few lengths. They stopped midair and went straight up. And I mean, we just looked at each other and we were trying to figure out, well, I've never seen a jet or anything do that. I
Right.
mean, I depending on the angle of the view, maybe, but that was probably the first time that I was ever, I've always been a Star Trek fan and
Yeah.
a ufologist type of, but that was the first time that I was ever really experienced something like that. Then I got
Yeah.
married, et cetera, had kids, moved out here to Pennsylvania, basically because of jobs. But me and my daughter, and I've talked to my daughter about this quite a few times. She was
Hmm.
probably 10 or 12, and me and
Mm-hmm.
her are walking down the driveway and holding hands. This and it's kind of
Yep.
funny because the thing that they shot down the other day was they described it as a black cylinder. Do you recall that?
Um, I don't recall that. Let
That
me
was
see
out
here.
in
Hold
that I don't remember if that was Alaska or Oregon, but they defined it as a black cylinder. Now, me and my daughter's 30 years old now. So when she was about 12, we're walking down the driveway, and just for some reason, in the middle of the day, blue sky, and for some reason, I look over my shoulder, and this black cylinder, just very, very, no noise at all. And it wasn't a blimp. I mean, it was treetop level, and it was about, I'm going to say it was about 100 foot long and probably 60 foot round. It looked just like a plain black cylinder. It
on.
it
Wow.
did have a texture to it, and it came, and I told my daughter, I said, wave, just wave at whoever. I knew it was not something we had made, or maybe we had made it, but I knew I wasn't afraid of it, and we waved, and it seemed like it might have stopped, but it kept right on floating back
Yeah.
down my driveway, over the trees, and into the mountains. Now,
Mm.
I should have went around the neighborhood and asked if anybody else saw it, but I didn't. But what was funny
Mm-hmm.
about it, like I said, I was not afraid. So I go back here again. I'm going to go back to forward here to next year or last year. I'm down. There's a big reservoir behind us with a dam. It's called the Lebanon Reservoir, Lebanon Township Reservoir. In
Okay.
Lebanon is about 30 miles south of me, and so I'm back there. I got a camera on a tripod and stuff, and I'm just taking video of the sky and stuff. Now, I see things back here in the area all the time. And I had some hikers, two girls, two
Mm-hmm.
guys come up, and I had my camera set up on the top of my car, and they said, well, what are you looking for? Because we got eagles back behind us. And they said, are you looking for the eagles? I said, no.
Yeah.
I said, I'm looking at these things, and they were like little white dots circling around a larger white dot. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at these things in the sky. And they kind of kidded me. I said, come and look. So they came over, they looked through my camera and stuff, and the girl looked, and she said, wow, that is crazy. What is it? I said, I do not know what it is. And she stepped back, and she pointed up. She said, hey, I'm a little nearsighted. She said, I can see it with just my eyes. And the two boys and the other girl looked up, and they could see it too. So we watched that for about 15, 20 minutes. So after that, every evening I was going back and I was taking film. I
Mm-hmm.
and I know this is kind of crazy, and you've heard this stuff before. So, and I'm
Oh, it's
glad
never crazy. On my show, nothing is crazy.
so
Not
I
not on this show.
I'm sitting back there watching, and unfortunately, I did not have my camera set up, but this saucer disc comes
Yeah.
down through the mountain valley, and it makes this it's not making no noise. It makes this beautiful arch turn, kind of gliding around the mountain, and goes down
Mm-hmm.
between the valley, and then and
Mm-hmm.
then it disappeared. And
It
that's one
disappeared.
thing I wished I would have got. It's kind of a gray greenish type of material, of the metal or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I set my camera up the next day or so, and I was just taking random random amounts of time, letting the camera focus on the atmosphere. I had no idea what I was going to pick up. So
Mm-hmm.
I got back home, and I got it on my computer, because these things move so fast that you have to almost go frame by frame by frame to look at them.
Oh yeah, they're quick. They're very fast. The
So
ships. Yeah.
I I go back, and I put it on move it to my laptop, and I'm going through it, and I get this beautiful triangle, a black triangle. And this triangle has three It has three circles around it. Look, they're
Mm-hmm.
cloudy looking circles. It has one that's parallel to it, one that's lateral to the left, and one that's lateral to the right. And it acted like it wasn't real stable. It was kind of
Right.
jiggling a little bit. And
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
I immediately got on the phone to my buddy because he's always been skeptical. And I said, Errol, come over here. You got to look at this. So he
Mm-hmm.
came over and we're looking at it. He said, man, I have no idea what that is. So
Really?
it's up in the sky. And I'll tell you how far it was. It was probably up in the sky, I must say 30,000 feet, 40,000 feet. And I
30,000,
mean, I had,
40,000
I,
feet.
I
Okay.
had, I had a pretty good lens on. So
Yeah.
it moved from that altitude probably down to about 10,000 feet altitude in the blink of an eye. And I mean, it was just I couldn't believe how fast it was.
Wow.
And
That's
and
crazy.
Arrow's looking said, what? And I mean, it just like you turned it off up top, and it just appeared at the bottom. I mean, super super fast. So we
Yeah.
watched it there for a couple of seconds, and then it moved down to the edge of the lake behind the trees. Now, I told Arrow, I said, I don't know where it went. And Arrow's pointing to me on the screen. He says, well, it's right there. You can see the corner of it behind the trees. And
Yeah.
it wasn't flat like the aurora is, if you know what the aurora is. And they
Oh,
they, they
yeah.
fly the aurora back here behind me too. But I'll get to that
Mm-hmm.
in a second. But this thing was three-dimensional. It was a triangle, but it was like a piece of cheese. You know, it was black, but it had
Yeah.
square sides and like a
Yeah.
piece of cheese.
I've
So
heard of those before. Yep.
so in they fly the aurora back here, and you can tell the difference between the aurora in this other thing, uh, because of the way it flies, it makes a panoramic turns, looping turns, and things like that. Amazing speed, but you can hear it, the engine, and you can see
Mm-hmm.
how fast it goes. It's amazingly fast, also. Now,
Yeah.
now this is a tad piece of information that I don't know if you want to write it down and check it on yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
Indian Town Gap. I don't know if you've heard of Indiantown Gap. It's the home of the 28th Infantry back in World War I, World War II.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, when we left Saigon, they used the camp to migrate all the Vietnamese that they brought in from Saigon. The place was a trash hole, and I really feel bad because we, being an American, we put other human beings in this rundown camp. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was a trash hole. Well, in the last couple 3 years, they have redone the complete camp. You have always been able to drive through the military base. They are putting up security gates. They are putting up fencing. I mean, in this base, Indiantown Gap, is approximately 15 miles from where I live, and it's deemed a helicopter training base. Now, in the daytime, especially when there's blue sky, I probably get, and my wife is just right next door here. She listens to me all the time. But we probably get 8 or 10 helicopters, and I'm talking about the big twin rotor uh,
Yeah.
jobs. Sometimes we get the black ones, like the CIA choppers and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're
The
always
unmarked ones. Yeah.
they're always traveling the very same path over my house back
Mm-hmm.
into the hills. Now,
What do you think?
they,
What do you think, Dick? What do you think? This is Encounters. We're also going to bring Rake in as well. We're going to go around to everybody to give everybody a chance to on the show. But what do you think? I want to ask you, and then we'll get to Rake and let her come in. What do you think is going on? Do you think they repurposed it for other things other than what it's going to be used for? Is there a connection with possibly reverse engineer technology, UFOs? What do you think?
well, for 1 minute, I think that we are working with alien technology, whether there's aliens there or not. But the helicopters are going back over here, and I know somewhere but in the mountain range, if you've ever looked at the Allegheny Mountain Range on a map, there's all
Hmm.
kind of places you could probably do some kind of hidden stuff. If you look on Google Maps around Pine Grove, I can see where Google, you look at a mountaintop and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you get some kind of a digitized green square that doesn't look like they ought to be there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Something's being taken out. And
Yeah.
and like I said, I see this all the time. I get shadows. I'll be outside working, and my wife will be outside working. A shadow will come over our house, and I looked out and see this big shadow, and I look up and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
The cloaking technology that either the government has or the aliens have
Hmm.
is second to none. Now, like I said, it will cast a shadow on the ground, but when you
Right.
look up, and like I said, when I looked at that cylinder, when me and my daughter looked at it, you could see a texture on it, and I think that they were running low treetop to avoid the radar because I think lightning or something had hit in their craft and it messed
Yeah.
up their cloaking device. So that's why
Yeah.
they were treetop level.
That could happen. And we'll stop there for a moment. I want to give our new guest, I think it's Rack. Turn your mic on. Good evening. And how am I pronouncing it? Am I pronouncing it wrong? RAC Rack?
Oh, it's Rack. It's short
Oh,
for
okay.
Rachel.
Rachel.
I'm,
Hi,
I'm,
Rachel. Welcome to the show.
I'm going to mute mine
Hi,
here.
thanks for having me.
Okay.
I cannot believe I'm on here. I felt nuts at first. I didn't believe in any of this, but I've been seeing lights for 7 or 8 years now. I was seeing them when I lived with my ex-girlfriend. That wasn't really the greatest relationship ever, but then I don't know. I went out rando nodding with my sister, and I just manifested that because I haven't seen UFOs in forever. And then, this is gonna sound crazy, but I started talking to them.
Not crazy. Understand something. You're not crazy. You know how many people come on here and say it's going to sound crazy? 30 years ago, people would have said that. Now we're in an area where things are happening. There's disclosure. There's a lot of people having visitations on my show. You're not crazy. So I never say that word because you're not. People here
Okay.
will tell you you're not. Okay? You're
Uh,
very sound and you're extremely intelligent. So go right ahead.
um, Apparently, I lived a past life, in the Pleiades, which is really trippy now because it kind of makes sense because of that I drew a line through my whole life, and I grew up with a closed-minded family.
Hmm.
And I grew up Christian, so like anything other than God was like demonic or satanic. And when I was a kid, I was talking to ghosts too, and my mom thought I was bringing demons into the house. So I
Hmm.
internalized that for like years, and then
Hmm.
see lights in the sky, and then there's actual people in them. I'm still processing that. This is all new to
Hmm.
me, but it's amazing. They've been helping me on my spiritual journey. They're showing me like the best things in my they're showing me the best characteristics I have, how I see that in other people, how to help other people. It's
Hmm.
the words I cannot describe.
These are the
Uh
Palladians, correct,
yeah, these are the
Rachel?
Pleiadians. Yeah.
When did the Palladians start contacting you? Do you remember? Do you
Um
remember?
I started talking to him a few months ago.
How old are you
But
now? I
they
mean, a
I'm
few months
20
ago they
I'm
started.
28 I'm 28 now.
Okay.
Um I started seeing them. No, because this is crazy. Because when I was 19, my friend Echo at the time, he said he saw these lights by the water, Frenchman's Bar. But then he told me about them, and then I started seeing them, and then they were following
Wow.
me, and then I got really freaked out, and I thought I was gonna get abducted. I was 19,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they would fly
And
really
what state?
low, and
What state are you in? Just by the way, and then continue on with your story. What part of the world are you in?
I'm in Oregon.
Oregon. Okay, that's an interesting
Yeah.
place to be. Continue on. Your story is very interesting, and we want to hear it.
Um, Oh yeah, but I saw these lights. Like they were following me home, and then they got closer and closer,
Oh,
and they were you can hear
okay.
like the engine. They have engines on them, kind of like a
Engines.
plane would, but they're not planes. Now I can kind of tell the difference. There's an obvious difference to me. Not everybody can hear that, but it's like they're not using the air to move. It's like the air's moving them, and then it's like this whoosh noise.
What do their ships look like or their craft look like? Can you give our audience a description?
Yeah, so I thought they were just shaped like triangles, but they shape shift into like
Hmm.
into spheres. It's really trippy.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. I draw a lot of psychedelic art, and I can channel a lot of, like through that too. And they show me what they look like through drawing them, and I can draw like man, like 5 dimensional, 8 dimensional, but it just it keeps going. It starts with one triangle,
Yeah.
and then and then it kind of just forms into this saucer or like this sphere.
Yeah. Yeah. They're very higher, not only higher dimensional in their frequency, but they're also very advanced. They can change anything in a form. That's the difference between our 3D primitive spaceship and their spaceship, which can. Billy Meyer, who was a contactee with the Pleiadians, they came with a saucer-shaped ship with round little things around the craft, and they would visit him and they would land. And the Pleiadians he had were two women who were sisters and their father on the ship in the Pleiades region. They came from that area and they would visit him forever and until I don't think he's alive anymore, but I know the story of the Pleiadians and those two women. So it's very interesting. The Pleiadians that you met, what did they look like? Were they tall? Were they men, women? Can you give us some description of what they looked like?
Um, so here's another crazy story. You know Vrillon Galactic's message that he sent out. Um,
Yeah, I don't. If it was a channel message, I don't really read anything that's
it
messaged
was
out
on
by channel.
YouTube. It was like some BBC interrupted broadcast. I found
Oh
this
yeah, yeah.
years ago. I thought it
That was
was
it.
like
That was the Ashtar Command broadcasting and taking over a transmitter of a news station. I know about the story.
yeah. So Vrillon Galactic's a real person. I know him and he has a family. Um, a girl and two boys. Talanka, she's the oldest. I knew
How
her in
did
a
you make
past life.
in the past life? How did you make connections with that? Because that was 1977 when that broadcast went over ITN TV, and
Yeah.
that ship. He was in a ship way beyond our Earth. They doing a broadcast, which later on that same area, if you study it, is where all the crop circles are. If you study that whole triangular area where that broadcast interfered with ITN, that was in that whole area now where for decades there have been crop circles. But go ahead. I just wanted to kind of make that connection for you. Go ahead.
No, I was tripping about that because that was in 1977, but I
Right.
found that in like 2017, and then I reconnected technically with Talanka a few months ago, and I showed her that video. She's like, "That's my dad. My dad sent that message." So that's like
Hmm.
three different. I don't know. They say
Now,
their
now
time is like their time's like
where is
confusing.
Where is
Sorry.
Talanka? By the way, we have Squishy here. We have Dick Winn here. Rachael is on here with us, and all three have some interesting stories. And it's just the synergy of the energy is they're all interesting stories. So this Talanka, can you tell us who Talanka is? Is Talanka someone you communicate with telepathically? Tell us a little bit about Talanka.
Um, she is. So I communicate with them the same way I would communicate with you if you were standing
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
She's hovering above my head in a ship right now. I wish I could turn my video on so you could see it, but
Uh, you will
she's
be
tall.
eventually. Yeah,
Okay.
when you get to 1,000, you'll be able to show us that too, physically. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
She's one of the smaller Pleiadians. She's like 5'9", 5'10". Normally they're like 6'3", 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
Long brown hair, big blue eyes. Their eyes are so cool. They have like, so you know how we have one pupil. They have like three, and they change colors, and then their whole eyes can go black, but it's like sparkly. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It's all these
So you're
crazy
saying
colors.
they can change their physical color of their body?
Their eyes, yeah.
Yeah, the eyes.
According to
Yeah.
their emotions, yeah.
Yeah. And I want you to, we're going to go back to you. I want to go back to Squishy too. So I'm going to go in a circle here and Squishy, what do you think? I know you've had your experiences. And the thing I find interesting about both of you, you didn't have any negative experiences from your story. You're being given some way to learn things on a cosmic level. And
Yeah.
I can tell you from your story right off the bat, don't even think negativity because there wasn't anything, there was no abductions with you. And as you're listening to her story, she's connecting directly with the Pleiadians, not channeling them. You're a
Yeah.
telepathic communicator, Rachel. Do you know that?
Yeah, I'm a medium. I also can talk to
You're a
like other
medium?
realms. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. But the space people it's totally telepathy, conscious to conscious communications. So that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's just like when I listen to your story, I think we're all listening to it. It's so beautiful to hear you talking about this. It's just amazing. And what Squishy is talking about, and Dick Winn about the flying saucer in the woods. I mean, so many things are connected, and that's why we come together here on the show to share those stories. And because when no one's crazy, people are coming out of the woodworks to come on here because they want to come out of the closet and be who they are. I tell people, be who you are. Don't let anybody ever stop you from being telepathic, communicating with space people. If that's your nature and natural ability from being born here, that's your mission, to reconnect with your space people, your brothers and your sisters. So what you're talking about is very, very beautiful,
Yeah.
incredibly beautiful. The whole thing, like
Yeah.
Squishy talking about Dick's story about where he is in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of things happening now, and everything's kind of converging, like a conversion. So we're in for a lot of stuff, including the major sightings and the connections that are going to happen in 2027. If people don't realize it, we are going to start having contact on our planet, and it's going to be believe it or not, it keeps going back to the Pleiadians. It's going to be the Pleiadians who are going to make the first contact with the people of
Guess who's
Earth.
in there?
What
Yeah.
is that?
That is a charm for a bracelet. Say hi to my mom. We had her ashes put in it.
Hi,
Oh, okay,
Mom.
I got you.
Yeah. It was a necklace, a charm bracelet, and a pair of earrings. And you were able to
There
put
you
ashes
go.
in them all. Yeah.
There you
We
go.
we buried mom today, so we're
Oh,
Yeah,
my condolences.
oh, thank you. No, it was we were late. We were late. My sister flipped out.
The funeral is for
Hmm.
everyone else
Yeah.
that couldn't say goodbye. We said
Yeah.
goodbye, so we're okay with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's sitting
yeah,
out here with me.
there
Yeah,
you
it was
go.
an interesting day. It was an interesting day to say the least. When she was talking about when Rack was talking about getting followed by things, I was on my way back from the mountains one day. I had went up there and went hiking. We hiked Levitt Peak up in the Sierra Nevadas in California. And I was on my way back, and it was me and my dog. And I was in my little 74 or 75 Toyota pickup, cruising along, and this car run up on me. It run up on me really, really close. And then it would back off, and then it would come back up on me, and then it would back off. And then, like, we'd get to a stop sign, and we'd take off from the stop sign, and he'd pull out from behind me and act like he was going to pass me and then go back. And I noticed it was two guys, black suits.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Two dudes, black suits. It was a Lincoln, like a Lincoln Town Car, instead of
Yeah,
the Mercury or the Ford. Um,
yeah,
and like I could just tell by looking in my rearview mirror, it was starting to get dark, that you could see the white triangle from their suit jackets
yeah.
and where the tie was. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call 911. So I called 911. I said, hey, check this out. I said, I'm driving down Hickman Road, coming back from the mountains. I said, this car is all over me. I said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I said, but I just want to call and, check in with somebody, let them know this is my last known coordinates if anything were to happen to me. She's all, what kind of car is it? And I tell her, she's like, okay. And she hung up, or she put me on hold.
Right.
And I was on hold for like 15 seconds, and then she came back on. She's like, okay, be on your way. And that car like hit its brakes, flipped a U-turn, and took off the other direction.
So
And
how do you think
the
that happened?
operator hung up.
That's weird. What do you think that was all about?
I was getting real heavy into all the conspiracy stuff in like 16, 17 with Alex Jones. And, oh, man, there's a whole slew of them. Steven Crowder. And
So when
just
did this thing with the car happen? What year was that?
2017, 2016.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you think they were like, I don't get on here. We don't get too much into it for the positive aspects we go for, but do you think they were like the Men in Black, for
It was
lack of a better
something like
word?
that. It was
Okay.
something like that. It was an odd feeling, very
Hmm.
odd feeling. And I told the lady I told the operator, I said, listen, I said, either you get a cop out here, I said, or somebody's dying. And that's when she's like, oh, can you
Yeah,
hold,
that's
please?
bad vibes, right? That's
Yeah.
bad vibes
Yeah.
right
It
there.
is.
It was
Yeah. It is
horrible.
bad vibes.
It was
Rachel's right.
horrible. I feared my dog was growling.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was bad. It was really bad. My dog and I were really, really, really connected. His name was Spanky. God rest his soul.
Mhm.
He's a good dog. But he was sitting there and he would look out the back window and just growl and growl and growl. And I was like, boy, it's okay. It's okay. Sit down. And he'd sit down for a second, then he'd just stand back up. Every hair on him was standing on end. He looked like a werewolf. It was
Yeah.
pretty.
So do you feel now, especially that going from that period to where you are right now at this point,
Which
do you
one?
feel that your frequency,
No.
your vibrational patterns are operating in a much higher place where that you haven't had that happen to you ever again since, right?
No. No, but I've
And you
had
won't.
weird stuff happen, like like when they tap your phone, how it has like that click or that beep in the background.
Yeah.
My cell phone will do that.
Yeah. So do you think honestly your phone's being tapped by some government agency, or what do you think?
I don't know. I would assume to say yes. I would assume to say yes because
Mhm.
I've dug pretty deep. I've been down some pretty dark rabbit holes,
Yeah. Well, I don't think you
and you
want to go
don't
in
come
dark
up for
rabbit holes
days.
anymore. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think you're best to stay in a higher vibration. This is one thing I teach people. Depending where you go, the energies will be there. If you stay focused on Christ consciousness, on elevating your
oh yeah,
frequency, they won't be able to touch you, even
no,
if it's earth-based, whatever. So as long as you elevate your frequency and clear all that garbage out, then you will never be
yeah.
touched again. I guarantee it.
And
I've
that's
never
the
Yeah,
had any of
thing.
that.
A lot of
that's
people.
right. That's right. 1,000-fold.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. A lot of people they don't understand how powerful they are. Like a lot of people, they do
No,
not
no.
understand how powerful
I
they are.
I
The
recently it was a
power,
discovery for me.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Rachel.
the power of manifestation is incredible. Like absolutely incredible. I showed my wife how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
About a dog. Your phone cable. Oh, my phone cable.
So
So
the thing people,
Snoopy,
go ahead, Rachel. Rachel, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get you what happened to you. So you were followed by this craft, and then you saw these men in black afterwards.
Well, no, I had been up in the mountains for like 3 days, and as I was coming
Hmm.
down out of the mountains, I noticed this car. I'd noticed it a couple of times on the way up there, but then when it jumped on my ass on the way back, and it followed me for a good 20 miles, 15 miles, because I'm in a
Yeah.
little, B210 Datsun like pickup or Toyota pickup, and like I'm screaming along at a whole 58 miles an hour. So they're on me. They're on me. They're on me. And you wouldn't be able to see the headlights. Like they were
Hmm.
so close to the back of me. And then they would whip out beside me like they were going to pass and then go back behind me. And it was nuts. It was nuts. And I don't know. I don't know if it was either Men in Black. I don't know if it was FBI. I don't know if it was CIA. I don't know if it was investigators, detectives, what it was.
Right.
But as
You
soon
don't
as
know.
I called 911, they were gone. They were
Well, they
gone.
must have had monitoring
That's
equipment to know that you were calling.
sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, way sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's just really important. What you're sharing is that people need to just elevate their
be
frequencies. And
vigilant.
that's one of the things I teach is I take people off planet in my workshops to a real ship as big as the earth. I work
Like
directly
the girl?
with the Astro Command on a very high frequency. So I know,
Okay.
Rachel, you work in a very high frequency of light. I know that. And that's why you're connected so clearly with the Pleiadians. And some, like you're saying, some of them were short. Other Pleiadians are tall, much taller. So you don't run into any of that because in your vibrational patterns, for the short time I've known you here, you run on a very high frequency. You came here actually to help the planet, and you originally came as a starseed from another planet.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're obviously Palladian is your connection, so I don't even have to figure that out.
Yeah.
That's a slam dunk.
I've always been a
Yeah.
sensitive person, like really emotional. My family wasn't, so that was an issue growing up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense. Now it makes so much sense. I never used to like those parts about myself, but you know, I started doing shadow work and I started going to therapy. That helped a ton. And then I
Yeah.
started like experiencing things I couldn't explain after some traumatic events in my life, and I thought I was just going nuts for a while because I can hear
Yeah.
things too.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just numbers.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's numbers with you too?
Yeah, and I know it's the gods or God or whoever. Sometimes it's 333,
Yeah.
6 something. A lot of the time it's 333. I have a problem with controlling things I can't. So it's just them
Mhm.
telling me, "Hey, you're doing fine. Don't worry about
And
it."
can you explain? Can you explain what I have someone saying is shadow work good to do? What is shadow work?
So
Can you explain
basically,
that?
it's a journal that has these prompts that'll ask you like, "Hey, like when I was growing up, I was told not to do this. This made me feel this way." Or it'll be like, "What's triggering your inner shadow?" And it could be anything. It could be, "I forgot to eat today. I forgot to brush my teeth. I forgot to go to the store." Or something bigger, like I got in a car crash and the other guy was. And then
Yeah.
you think of 3 words and you put them down, and it doesn't matter what they are, it's what correlates. And then once you read back through it, you kind of do these connections.
Hmm.
And it makes so much sense. I don't know what's going around about shadow work is demonic. I guess because you do have to dig up stuff from your past.
Yep.
But once you do that, it helps. It helped me a ton. It's just
Right. So someone's
uncomfortable for
saying
a while.
it Mystic Warrior is saying it's confronting your dark side, fear and anger. So yeah, so if you have, it simply is, without saying shadow work, if you have like negative things in your past, like experiences you've had or been picked on or you're bullied and you still have those dysfunctional patterns of energy, that can be considered, or anger from something, being mistreated. So those are things you have to look at yourself at and heal yourself of those things. You call it shadow work, or it could be a dysfunctional thing that happened sometime in your life growing up. And if you confront it and you say, "Oh man, I don't like this person I am," that's basically another way of saying, "Look at me in the mirror." And you can call it shadow work, looking in the mirror at yourself. Same thing. I don't like this me. I want to be better than this. I want to be more happier. Once you realize what it is, you can take it apart and say, no longer do I have to be this way. Would you say that's similar to what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
like I don't like this part, I'm gonna change it. It's more you kind of
Right.
have to greet that part with compassion instead of, "I don't like this, why am I doing this?"
Yeah.
It's more of, "Okay, so I feel this way after I go to the store for some reason, or I
Hmm.
get mad because of this certain
Yeah.
thing."
Yeah.
Um, I used to be like really frustrated about that, like why can't I just get shit done? But It's not just about getting shit done. Like I have to like be the best version of me to get shit done.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're doing it. I mean, at 28, you're actually doing it. And now with the Pleiadian contacts, which I'm really thinking, you have the ability, you're fully awake, and that's some medium. You're also telepathically able to communicate with the space people, which is another whole thing. And you realize that, right? You're a telepath. When I
yeah.
say that, I mean, like
Oh,
when you listen to a space person talking to you from the Pleiadians, whatever Pleiadian it might be, they talk to you through your consciousness. You hear their voices, correct?
yeah. Well, the closer I get to them, I can like,
Yeah.
I can touch them. I can feel like their
Yeah.
lips move. Like it's so weird. And then like
You can
my
feel the tone
eyes,
of their voice, huh? The
my naked eyes
vibration.
don't really register them fully yet. So I'll see like these apparitions, like you know how in a movie, like they're kind of like
They tell you?
shimmery.
Hmm.
I don't know, but
It, yeah.
I can
It's
see
like
them with
electric
my third
energy.
eye,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, it makes
Yeah.
sense. All the things you're saying, my audience understands this on encounters. They understand exactly what you're saying. And if they don't, they'll ask a question, and I'll throw the question to you so you can answer it. Or Squishy, if they ask you a question. If I have questions in the audience for my guests, please do ask. And, we'll certainly throw the question out there. But that's really, I know
Yeah.
with Dick Winn also with his sightings with the spaceship, what I call a spaceship, it landed in an area where he is, and I'm sure the military was trying to figure out where they were, because of course our military people want to get the spaceship and capture the beings that are in the ship. And if they do capture the beings, and I know this from my DoD contact at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, they have facilities there where there are non-terrestrial beings being held in captivity. This is true. And the reason this is true because I got this information direct. So there's a lot of things the public doesn't know that's going on, not just on this part of the world, but in different places in the world where they do have in captivity
Oh yeah.
space people. They do.
Yeah.
Now, if I
You
could,
notice the
if I could,
UFO sightings have been. I'm sure they've been like they're surging right now. It's because the Pleiadians are all over the world right now.
Oh, the Pleiadians, yeah, the Pleiadians are going to be the ones in 2027 making official contact with our planet. It's the Pleiadians. They're going to be the first ones, everybody. I already knew this last year. I kept getting information. I communicate with a being called Kadar Manka of the Sagittarian Council, and I am a telepath. I've been communicating with him before there was even internet websites. And he, right on last year, told me to tell everybody that there's going to be contact coming soon. I had 3 or 4 different verifications from different people, and especially the most important one coming for our DoD contact a few months ago, that the government knows, the DoD knows, the levels that deal with cosmic top secret know that there are going to be spaceships coming in mass with Pleiadians, and the Pleiadians are going to be the first contact. So people, if you haven't heard this before, I'm telling it to you now. I'm not assuming everybody has heard this. The Pleiadians are going to be contacting us. And can you repeat? One person wants to know. Marie wants to know what the name of the Pleiadian being is that you mentioned before. The woman,
Talanka.
Talanka. And can you tell us a little bit about Talanka's life? What is Talanka like, and what part of the Pleiades area does she come from?
She can be really intense sometimes. A lot of energy. She designs the spaceships. Right now she's teaching me about quantum physics. Um, she's one of my best friends actually.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Currently, like she's in and out right now. She visits here a lot.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Has she physically come into your space, into your room? Have you ever physically had her manifest in a physical form?
yeah, yes.
You have. Can you explain what that's like?
Um, I don't know how to describe that in words.
Yeah.
It's it's electric, but it's not.
What?
It's kind of like a lot of electromagnetic frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And my brain's like, there's a person here, but like my eyes can't see that, but like it's starting to register that, but it's
Is she operating, Rachel, on a slightly higher frequency? But you know she's in the room. But if you were on the same vibrational pattern, I think you would see her. Correct?
yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
I'm
she's
not
there.
quite there yet. We're getting there.
You're getting there. Obviously, you're pretty close. I get
Yeah.
the energy I'm feeling about you is you're really, really close to being at her frequency. And I think within next year, you're going to be at that frequency. You're rapidly increasing your frequency very quickly. I think you're going to see her next year in the physical.
Can
Yeah.
I chime in for a second?
What's that noise?
That's an airplane. I live by the airport.
Oh, Dick Winn is with us too. Dick Winn, jump
Yeah,
right in here, and Rachel, meet Dick Winn. He's out of Pennsylvania. Dick, and what else, as you're listening to all this, what
I,
do you
I
think?
find
What do you?
I find it very interesting. I want to give a little bit of my my physical experience. I don't know if you call it the fourth kind or whatever.
Yeah, go
One,
ahead.
I love that movie. It's great. Sorry.
this is a very uh, uh, coincidental thing. I mean, my daughter has a new boyfriend, and the other day the boyfriend asked me about the grasshopper thing because I had told my daughter this experience. Probably late last fall, I'm walking from I live out in the country. I got 8 acres. I'm walking from my garage barn to the house. And usually I know the path by being blind almost, you know. So I'm walking in the dark. I see this and I know there's several types of alien species. I see this 6 foot high grasshopper
Mm-hmm.
walking on its hind legs. Now, his legs worked opposite from our legs, where our knee bends forward. His knee was bending backwards, and it was only one
Right.
individual. He had a long
Hmm.
oval face, large black eyes, and he had like an armor plating or something on him, like a grasshopper would. Very
Hmm.
short wings. I think their wings had probably not being used for flying anymore. He never stared at me. He came through the yard, across the driveway, and headed back towards the woods. And I thought that was
Hmm.
very. Now, this is the funny thing about it. This happened last fall. Now I'm watching a series on TV. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's called uh, Exposure or something like that. It's like 4 or 5 little series
Mm-hmm.
of little episodes. There's one
Hmm.
episode there about Stevensville, Texas. If you know the
Yeah, I
history of
know.
Stevensville.
Oh, that story. Yeah, they had a lot of spaceship sightings. I know about
Okay.
that.
Well, there's a guy named Ricky something other, starts with a Sirocco or something like that. He's hunting in the woods. He's got a gun and a scope, and he is looking up at this craft, and he's seeing a creature in the window of the craft that looks like an insect. And I told my wife, I said, Heather, you have to come in here and look at this. I mean, we put up the text on the TV because I could see it better. Sometimes I can't hear it,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
but I said, look at this. I said, this guy back several years ago is seeing an insect inside of a craft, and I said, I told you guys, I saw this grasshopper walking across the yard, and he, you know, I don't know if they dumped him out or he got left behind or what his story was, but he was heading back towards where I see all these crafts and the helicopters and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
here again, it's dark. It's probably I don't know 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Kind of stunned me. You know, I kind of
Yeah.
stopped in my track. I didn't. You know, it's funny how you later on you think, well, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have said hello. I should have walked up to him. I should have chased him or something. You know, you just get
Right.
stunned.
How
You
did
know.
how did you feel though, Dick, when you saw that being that looked like that? Did you
Well,
feel?
I thought it was very odd. Here again, I am not. I'm one of the people. I've never been afraid of nothing.
Mhm.
I'm a very strong Christian. I believe in the blood of Christ, and nothing scares me. I go out in the woods at night by myself and meditate and stuff, and mostly it's Christian meditation. I've tried to contact doing the Stephen Greer thing, where contacting through meditation, etc. I haven't had much luck on that, but things like that don't bother me. I mean, I walk out in the woods and I got some infrared glasses, and I might see bear or coyote or something like that off the distance.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
things don't really scare me. I was in the military, so but
yeah.
it's just one of those things where your mind tries to rationalize things. It's like the thing
Right,
flying treetop with me and my daughters. I said, "Hey, wave and say hello." There wasn't nothing threatening
right,
about it.
right.
It just stunned me, and it was just rationally tried to comprehend what was going on. So
And you were seeing this being, this and that looked like it looked, and was it looking at you as well?
no, it was just. I mean, it was focused like it was. If I had to say it had an emotion, I'd say it was pissed off because they dropped him or forgot him, or they kicked him out of the spaceship and made him walk
On the
home,
spaceship,
or
yeah,
like when I was in the military,
yeah.
they used to
Do
take
you
us 20
do you
miles out in the
think
wood. They used to take us
do
20
you
miles
think
out in the.
okay. If I was going to ask you, it's fascinating. This is Encounters, the late night UFO talk show. I'm CmdrAleon, your host,
Yeah, yeah.
and we have Dick Winn here. We have Rachael here. Squishy's here. Dick Winn's in Pennsylvania. So when you saw that, I mean, how many people can say they're living in the country and there's this being, this extraterrestrial, walking and then going back in the woods? Do you think if you had said hello, I'm not afraid of you, I'd like to communicate with you, what do you think would have happened? It's hypothetical, but I got to ask the question.
Maybe he would have turned around. Maybe there would have been some telepathic communication or something like that. I
Hmm.
don't know. Like I said, when I was in the military, towards the end of graduation and boot camp, they take you out in the
Yeah,
woods, they drop you off, and they tell you make your way home. They give you a compass and a map, and they say, okay, get home or the alligators are going to eat you. So,
right.
he had this persona about him. I mean, he was very focused. He was moving at a not a trot, but a pretty good walk, and
Hmm.
he knew just exactly where he was going. I mean, he came across my field, across my driveway, and it just continued out to the woods, and by the time I walked over to the edge of the driveway, I always leave one porch light off, and he came across the end of the driveway in the porch light, and I mean, I could see him in the light, and he walked
Right.
out of the light and into the back of the woods, and he was gone.
And
And
how close was he, Dick, from where you are? If I was standing at your
15
door at
feet,
your driveway,
probably
15
15 feet.
feet
See,
away.
I was in the dark part. Now you got to, when there's a light, there's a radiated area. You
Hmm.
call it a half circle or something, because it's a porch light on the side of my house. Now I'm
Hmm.
coming from the barn, in front of the house, where it's dark
Hmm.
up the driveway, and I hadn't
Yeah.
reached that light area yet. And we were probably, like I said, we were probably 15, 20 feet apart. And I just stopped
Wow.
in my tracks. I mean, you don't, it just kind of stunned me to see a 6 foot high grasshopper. And then, like I said, when I told my kids and stuff, my wife thinks I'm a nut anyway, but uh, when I told my kids, my daughter told her boyfriend, and like I said, I was watching that series just 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
in the one episode of Stevensville, Texas, the guy from years ago, through his gun sight, sees this insect in the window of this craft. And he said it looked like a praying mantis, or he looked like
Right.
if you follow up on the TV show. But I thought that is, I mean, a praying mantis and a grasshopper. When you look them in the face, there's not much difference. I
Right.
just saw I
Now,
just saw
now,
one today.
when you call it, Dick, praying mantis or grasshopper, that's only because we don't know what they really are. That's the only way we can like relate to it. Like the one that was walking into the woods, it might tell you it's a being from another planet from where it comes from. Its race of beings look like this, not like us. But yeah, that's the only way you can describe it as a grasshopper because you didn't communicate with them, and that's the only way you can relate to it from what you understand, correct?
Oh, correct. And like I said, rationally, I forget how many millions of planets are inhabitable in just our universe here, or in
Oh,
our galaxy.
it's
That
unlimited.
it's not inconceivable that there was a planet where over 1 billion years the grasshoppers that we have out in our yard evolved in 1 billion years to an intelligent being. I mean, I believe that God created us all, not just us, not just etc. So I think my dog even has a soul. I mean, I got the greatest dog in the world, but you know, I the old saying is, if there's nobody else out there, it's a big waste of space.
Yeah. So let
So
me tell you about space. There are many, many levels of consciousness. This is a learning curve. So I love doing this on the show. So when I hear stories, realize that there are every planet in our solar system, just to look at our solar system, has intelligent life. Every solar system has intelligent life. Every galaxy has intelligent life. Every universe has intelligent life. Every parallel universe has intelligent life. Every dimension, and there are many dimensions that the Creator created, has intelligent life. So on Earth, we're told, we've been brought up on this planet to believe that we are intelligent life and that we're looking for intelligent life, which is really a lie, because the intelligent life that the Creator created it in the multiverse. The creation of all life exists everywhere. And when you realize that, we hope that there's life here. Maybe they came from here. Maybe that whatever planet they came from was okay, but the other planet doesn't have any life on it. Just realize, people, the one most important thing that I can tell you, being from Mars, and I am from Mars, is that there is 10 to 15 million people on Mars, and they are intelligent spiritual beings of light. When I came here, I didn't know as a baby I came here to do this, but I was sent here to wake up humanity, and it was a mission. We all have a mission. Every one of you, all our guests here have a mission. Now, and they all are distinctly different. I mean, if we all did the same thing, it would be kind of boring, right? But we all have different experiences. But even if they're negative, it leads us to a better place, because sometimes those dark places we've been in on this planet is so that we know what we don't want to be and what we don't want to have. And by going through that, some people have no negative experiences. I only cannot say that. I only had one experience with when I was sleeping in my old house, and also I see this tall person with a coat on and a hat, like from, like out of a movie. And I'm saying, then there was like a mist in the bedroom. And I said, I'm saying telepathically, who are you? What are you doing here? Now, then I was working with my Ashtar Command people, but I didn't know what was going on with this. So I said, you have no right to be here. You're not in my frequency of consciousness. I don't know why you're here. Didn't do anything to me. But again, it affected me in a way that I didn't like the energy, the hat, the black, like a black jacket. I said, you're in a different frequency. I said, you need to leave. And they left and never came back. This is an old house I lived in years ago. But that's the only little time in my life that happened. After that, there was never any question. Everything went to a much super higher frequency. So when Dick, you talked about this, it's very interesting because there are many different types of beings in the universe. What you call Praying Mantis, people talk about the Praying Mantis beings. I've read books about them, books about what you're talking about. So there are many different, just like you have many different people on the earth of different nationalities, different races, different colors, different creeds. So you can look at our Earth and look at the universe as many different colors of the rainbow. And it is. Once people wake up, there are so many different galactic races of beings beyond our comprehension that we haven't even met yet. So it's very interesting. And you share, and then Rachael shares her story about this woman who's a Pleiadian, very, very beautiful energy. So it's just interesting that everyone has something, even if it's a different looking type of being, or sharing really interesting concepts and stories of real things. This is what disclosure is about. Disclosure is about us. It's not about when is the next thing going to come out from the Department of Defense about spaceships. It's about us. It's about our experiences, and our experiences are what are going to change the planet. Our experiences from having them will make us better, not worse. So
I
look at
told my
yourselves and
I
go
told
ahead.
my daughter if I was going to tell somebody about a being that I saw, I said I wouldn't make up a 6 foot grasshopper. I'd make
Right,
up something like you see
right,
on TV. I
right.
did. I
It
hear.
looked like a wharf.
Yeah, here in the last spring, and it was just
Right.
for an instant. I saw one of what you would call a traditional gray. I have a 30-foot camper parked out by my barn. It was in the daytime, and I had just walked out and was walking beside the camper, and this gray came out beside the camper on the opposite side of the camper and was there for 2 seconds and just disappeared. I don't know how or why, but I mean, I stopped, I looked at him, and he looked at me and just disappeared. I don't know how they do that. I'm sure if they can do their ships like that, they have some way of doing it themselves. But I thought that was those are the only two
Yeah.
experiences that I've really ever had with like
Now,
uh, of the fourth kind.
Now, Dick, when you talk about a gray, I'm going to let people know what a gray is. It's basically a area it's a Zeta Reticuli. A Zeta Reticuli is what people are calling grays, but they're really Zeta Reticuli. There are different levels of Zeta Reticuli even. Some are higher frequency, some are not as high frequency. There are different Zetas from the Zeta area that all operate just like there are good humans and not so good humans. The Zetas have different levels too, as I've learned over the last few years. Not all the Zeta are the same. So that's interesting. You have this not praying mantis, but what you call the grasshopper, for lack of a better knowledge of what they are, coming through your driveway, and then you have the Zeta. You have a lot of extraterrestrial activity in Pennsylvania where you are, it seems. Am I
I
correct?
I wish I don't know if I could send you pictures or not, or I have video, and here again, like I said, you got to go through frame by frame, and you
Hmm.
can actually see the ships in the frame. And I mean, you would think, well, it's once in a great. I mean, I can go back here to the reservoir any
Yeah,
time of the day, and I can film for 20 minutes up in the sky and come back and put it on my computer and stop framing. And I guarantee you there will be something in that frame. I've seen birds, I've seen the geese that fly, everything, and we have eagles. You can tell a bird when it's flying. When
yeah.
something's moving at
You have
such
eight.
extremely
Well, you have
speed,
Yeah, you have someone saying it's true. You have 8 acres and you have woods. That's a perfect place for space people, no matter who they are, to go and land a ship.
well,
They have plenty of room to hide.
behind me is thousands and thousands of state game land, and it's all
Wow, see,
mountains,
there you
very big
go.
mountains. If you wanted to
There you go.
build an underground base, this would be the perfect place to do it.
Yeah. And you say you did C5. If you did you use the app itself, Stephen Greer's app?
Just watching him on his shows on like Tubi and stuff. He has several series of shows and stuff, and I find him very interesting. I find it to be very factual in a lot of respect. Like I said, I've tried his meditation thoughts and stuff, to
Mhm.
communicate, and I haven't given up yet. I
Well,
I,
don't give
I
up. I'm saying actually you should download the actual app instead of the YouTube thing. The app is like
okay,
$10. I tell everybody on my show to get the app. Follow the protocols in the app, and you are already having contact with ETs of these ones you've mentioned. So, but if you want to contact the ones even of higher frequency, download the app. You can get it on if you have an iPhone on the Apple. If you have a Android phone on Google, download the app.
right,
We have the C5 group here, and when we get together, we use Stephen Greer's app, and we have our own Ashtar protocol. And I guarantee you, if you use the app in the way it's stated, and you download the information on the app and follow the tones and everything, you will actually have some interesting things happen. I
very
guarantee it.
interesting. Yes. Okay,
And that goes for everybody out here.
I'm gonna mute the mic and let y'all go on.
Okay, Dick, thank you for sharing. Rachel, we're going to go back to Rachel now. Rachael, and we got my co-host here, and we're going to bring my co-host on here. If I can find where he is on the planet. He's somewhere here. Let's see. So we're going to, I'm going to bring James up. He's my co-host. I know he's been pretty busy and doing a lot of good stuff. James is my co-host. Everybody meet my co-host, James. He's a little bit late on the show today.
Hi, James.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Encounters.
Yes, and welcome, James. Good to have you with us, brother. We have Rachael here, and she is a direct contact with the Pleiadians. We have Squishy here, who tells some fascinating stories about being chased by what I think are men in black. And Dick Winn talking about his contact visually with what he calls grasshopper-type beings, and also Zeta. So we've had some interesting stories here, and we're going to bring it back to Rachael. And Rachael, tell us a little bit more of what's happening out your way.
Go, Stu.
And then we'll go to Squishy. Squishy's in space right now.
I mean, right now there's like a bunch of lights in the sky while there's planes going.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really playful and funny. Like they'll mess with jets, not like putting anyone in harm's way. They make it very clear they'd never want to put humans in harm's way. But like Talanka's brothers are stupid. They'll mess with like military jets and like fly around them like an orb, and then like they got all threatened and thought there was gonna be a dog fight. And then I was watching that on a documentary the other day, and Talanka just rolls her eye. She just rolls her eyes like, oh my fucking.
Yeah,
So
let's
they're
try to keep
playful and they're
honest.
funny.
So the
Not
Pleiadians
all
are
of them
playing
do
around
that.
with some of the Pleiadians, like you're saying, they were playing with the Air Force jets, and
Yeah.
I'm sure the Air Force. Did the Air Force jets see them? Did she tell you that they were visually seeing them?
Yeah, they made a documentary on
Really?
YouTube somewhere. Yeah. This orange like ship, diamond, it's like a diamond triangle shaped ship.
Yeah.
It just stopped in the sky, and then like this orb came out. I think maybe two orange orbs, and it just like they just flew around the jet, and apparently it had knocked out some of the electronics, not all of them, because if they fly
Yeah.
too close it'll knock a whole plane out, which is why
Oh yeah, the energy. Yeah.
yeah, well,
That's
it didn't
crazy.
knock the edges out. It just like I guess he had to sit in autopilot while it was happening, and it freaked them out so much like they
Really?
had to talk
Oh
about it.
man,
I would,
that's
yeah, I
crazy.
mean,
Air Force pilot,
yeah.
and then he's on autopilot, and these two Palladian craft or whatever are going in circles around him, shutting his electricity off on his jet. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great story, folks. That really is. You know?
And they went to the doctor, like no radiation was found. Like, yeah, they don't, no harm on the humans at all. And
Yeah.
plus,
No,
it,
I know
like
they.
they experimented with it afterwards too. Like, was that a weather balloon? Like, it makes people think. So in a way, I guess that's how they like to they like to teach people things, and I guess that was a way that they had to do that.
It's a definitely interesting way for the Palladians to present themselves. Here we are, Air Force pilot. We're going to show you something you don't know how to do. Really,
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing.
I mean,
You know?
her brothers come over here and they turn on some people's motion lights. And
Oh,
it's pretty funny.
how many brothers does she have, Tonka?
Tonka has two brothers.
Two brothers. Okay.
They have
Interesting.
they have
So
long names.
have they physically manifested? You say they would come over where you live?
Yeah,
Did they come
I'm
in
the
your house or
bridge
did they?
between. No, they just come over to my house and chill.
Where are you located again?
I'm in Oregon.
Oregon. Okay, cool.
Yeah, down rabbit hole. James, she's got
Yeah,
direct
I missed that
contact.
part.
The good thing is this recorded show. This is being recorded. It'll be on my YouTube channel if you missed any of it. She has direct contact, folks, with the Pleiadians. These Pleiadians come into, her brothers come in, the Pleiadians that Tonka have, her brothers come and visit Rachael. And this is the first time ever in months. Not the first time. I've had people have visits with plasma beings and other types of stories of visitation. But the Pleiadians, these Pleiadians that are loving, friendly beings, she's very close friends with Tonka, who's a Pleiadian, and her brothers come over to chill out in her house on Earth. That's pretty amazing, huh?
That's too awesome. Too awesome.
That's above awesome. That's above awesome, man. It's
Right.
just,
That's
I
what they
just,
want us to like migrate to, that state of consciousness, so we can all be the bridge in between, metaphysical and like the matrix, our matrix, I guess.
yeah. Now, as you're talking, I feel like this energy. This happens once in a while on my show. I feel like a flow of cool energy coming through. And what I'll do now is
Does
I
it cool
feel
your
it.
hips off and the
No,
side of your leg?
it's the cool energy I'm speaking of is that whenever I have a cool energy, that means there's space people in the room. For me, I want to know if anybody else at the moment is feeling this energy. As I move my hands, it's just not creating anything around me, but there's a slight coolness. And if you feel that coolness, that means there's they're not physically appearing, but that is your space connection, your space people. It's like a cool energy. David's first interview in 2 years. So yeah, I'm just sharing that with you as you're telling Rachael your story. This energy comes, and it's happened 3 or 4 times during my broadcast, and it's just a
Is it is
beautiful
it
energy.
is it like a warm energy?
No, it's
No,
like
it's
a
a
very
cool
subtle,
energy.
cool energy, but it's very positive.
It's like
It's
when
like,
you open the refrigerator, a cool breeze you get on you.
Oh,
yeah, it's a positive energy. Because I'm in direct contact with Dharma telepathically. And I'll tell a story here for a minute, one of my own stories. A few months ago, a good few months ago, we're watching some documentary on TV, the three of us, myself, my wife, and my daughter. And we're sitting, and then all of a sudden, the cat looks up at a window that's here on the other side of me, right on the right side of me. And coming through the window is a golden form, a body of golden form, a brilliant golden light. And this brilliant golden light, like was a whole body, like a translucent body, went through the room and out into the corner of the wall and out of the house. Now, after we looked at it, I started meditating, and it was a very high frequency being. I didn't know where it came from, but the fact is, it definitely came here to get our attention. So it came right through. And normally, somebody will see orbs, and I don't see something. This thing, all three of us saw it. The cat saw it first, and then all three of us saw it go flowing beautifully through the room and out of the wall, out wherever it was going. It's like it was going somewhere. It was like determined to get where it was going, but it wanted us to see it. And at that point, I knew it was a very high frequency being, and I was getting that it was a female energy. Very much so, but it was a very gold, radiant light around its body as it went through the room. So I wanted to share that story with people that have never heard it before. That happened a few months ago. And that was like, we're sitting there for a few minutes quietly looking at each other and saying, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? And we all saw it at the same time. Talk about
I got
synchronicity, you
I
know?
got it.
About a month and a half ago, I'm sitting in the living room, and it's dark. I got the lights down. I'm watching TV, and across the room, this little light shows up, probably about the size of a 50-cent piece, on my chair across the room, and it moves up the wall and down the wall, and it does some erratic movements and stuff. And I'm watching it for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and then it just disappears. Now, I
Yeah,
thought that was very weird at first, and then I started thinking, well, somebody's got a laser scope up on the mountain or something, and it's coming down through but my curtains are all closed and stuff. So I'm trying to rationalize why I'm seeing this dot move around the adjacent wall from where I'm sitting. I thought it was very, very weird. I haven't seen it since, and I still haven't rationalized what it was. But I'm thinking, well, maybe the guy up on the hill is trying to sight in his gun, and he's coming in through a crack in my wall or something. But it was very, very strange, like you said.
Yeah. So I just want to say it's coming. It's coming up to 11:55. We're going to go till about 12:15. I want to take a little non-commercial break, and I want to encourage people to gift the show and the work we're doing here on many levels. So I would take the time now to ask you if you know about your TikTok area where you have all those gifting things you can do with your TikTok coins. Please do gifting for us here. Now that's a hat I've never seen before. Thank
Yeah,
you, Wayne
cowboy
Perkins.
hat,
Thank you. Thank you.
Commander.
Thank you. Yeah, really, James. And John
John
Connor, he's got some
Connor's in
news.
the chat.
We're going to bring John Connor up here, folks. All the guests are going to love him. I call him the Tesla, the young Tesla on planet Earth. He is certainly from another planet, without a question.
He
And we're
says
going
he's
to bring
got
him on.
some news.
He's got some news. And but please send some gifts now. It could be galaxies. I also subscribe. We have 23 of 100 subscribers, and I'm setting the galaxy thing up here for pinning the galaxy up. So in that galaxy thing, if you have 1,000 coins, TikTok coins, you can provide a galaxy to us. So if there are 3 people that have thousands of TikTok coins, it's 1,000 coins to do a galaxy, just so you know what it is. So you'll see your little TikTok gifting area. So it's 1,000 coins, and it says I'm encouraging a lot of my viewers to do that if you can, and whatever else you want to do. You pick the TikTok gifting. Also, my Venmo account on CmdrAleon 2022. Do that, and that'd be great. James did the donut. James knows I love donuts, so I appreciate that.
Gotta keep the Commander sugared up.
Yeah, and I go to the best donut place in the United States called Neil's Donut. It's the #1 donut place according to donut people all over the United States. We're talking donuts here. So
The number
we're gonna
one donut place, eh?
Yeah. And I can't make this up either. It's like the donuts will put you in another state of consciousness, guaranteed. I feel like
You look like Clint Eastwood
Raiders
over
of the
there.
Lost Ark. I'm going to
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark mode. I might have to change. I might have to go in the movies and become a movie person. It could happen. So John Connor, we got to get John Connor up here. We're going to go to about 12:15 a.m. I'm going to try to tighten myself up so I can get some cosmic off-planet rest. John Connor is on our.
John,
Connor, right?
John's
before
here with
you
us.
start, you
Rachael,
better
meet
not turn
John.
on that
Squishy,
machine.
Dick Winn. This is John Connors. I
Just
call
give
him the
me,
Tesla of 2023-24. Hey, John.
I, yeah, I appreciate that. Give me 1 second. I'm going through to the basement. I'm going to be opening up the shop here, and I got some real good news, and then you can maybe fill me in if this matters or not. Give me 1 second.
Okay, John is.
John Connor caused the flood with his
This is.
time machine or
Oh, thank
whatever
you,
the
Ray.
heck it
Thank you,
was.
Ray. Oh, hey, that's the first
Wasn't he?
galaxy. We need
Wasn't
2
he?
more galaxies to
What's her
go.
name's kid? Sarah Connor's kid.
Yeah, same name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude, this
and
guy,
Squishy.
I don't know if you've ever met John or seen him on his lives or seen him in anybody else's
He's
lives,
great. He's
but
unbelievable, man. He's good.
he's literally
If
like
you don't mind, man, I'm
reincarnated
just going
Tesla.
to.
Like this dude could just build like the knowledge he has. John, tell
Oh
him
yeah,
about that damn
technology.
time machine thing you
I
built.
imagine he and I could get along real well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
And
do a
how's it?
cleansing real quick. It's a
And
Reiki
Squishy,
sound, so it clears out the chakras and it clears out the negative frequencies and vibrations that are not necessary. Okay.
yeah. And Squishy is now showing us how to float in space. He's getting us prepared to learn how to just float. He's floating everywhere.
Okay. So what I've come to know that, I guess today they were sending out a signal today on the fourth right. Namaste,
Yeah.
namaste, guys. So I was told to put out a
You want to go on camera? Do you have your camera going, or I can get you on
Yeah,
camera?
I'm in the dark right now. Give me a second.
Oh, forget it. All right, no problem. Do what you're doing.
Let's see. There we go.
I'll switch it over to you. I'll put you on the big screen once I. Okay, now we're gonna. Okay,
Is
here
that
we
it?
go.
Or
Yeah,
is it this one? Oh,
you're on the big screen, John. This is
okay. Let me
John.
switch it.
He's like Tesla. He's a complete Tesla person. He is like the embodiment of the Tesla energy. Folks, you're gonna love this.
Did I get it right this time? I'm trying to switch this camera around. There we go. Is that it?
Your camera's not on yet. You gotta
I
turn
don't
it
know
on.
why. Here we go.
You're almost there, I think.
There we
Almost.
go. All right. Okay,
Now there he is. There he is.
so I guess what happened today was that this whole thing went out, this 4-bit binary microcontroller sine waves, and it comes out to be the ultrasonic sound to the human ear, and they did it through the phone waves. So if you got the one of the, I guess, the Maxines, they call it, they don't say the whole word there, right? Okay, so if that's the case, being put through properties, if you have your interstellar comms, and you have all that put together, does that make sense?
Does that make sense to people? I'm listening to your. There, he's asking if that makes sense. Does anybody understand what he's saying?
I never understand what the hell John is ever saying, but I love listening to him.
Okay,
John,
give me 1
try to.
second. Let me grab the other one.
All right. And if you have any questions, folks, for John in the audience, please, John, please repeat what you're saying. Starshine was asking. A lot of people don't understand. Some people do. So try to simplify it.
I
Okay,
don't know. I
so
had my phone off almost all day long, so
okay,
I hope I
so
wasn't
the
exposed.
thing is that the composition of air, right? There's a interstellar comms air station that controls that frequency and what comes in and out that goes into the air. Like they form clouds, they do all that cloud seeding. Well, and do all this, when these all add up together, if they're doing this 4 output lines, and that's going through our own cell phones. Now, when you guys got that that service that came out today, did you guys hear anything?
Well,
I
listen,
have
I
my
have my
phone off.
phone off all day, John.
Yeah, all day. I
Okay.
had my mom's
Okay.
funeral today.
I
I
kept
had
it
my
off.
stuff off
I unplugged
Okay.
everything. The only thing I had plugged in was the fridge and the oven.
because they're not
Okay.
smart.
So now, if you didn't get that booster shot or whatever they want to call it, you wouldn't have heard anything. But if you would have got it and you would have got the one that's they're trying to transmit, you would have heard beeping. It'd been like boop 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 boop. Now, when it comes to the radio, you know how they do that one testing sound that we
Yeah.
always heard when we were a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, that does the same thing, but that just scrambles the four parts of your brain, which is the gray matter, which is your brain, right? So when
Yeah.
they put in that sine wave, you have all these parts of the earth that come into your brain, the conscious meaning of the it's like where all the information
Hey,
that you can gather
1
reasonably
second,
on Earth,
John.
right?
John,
Yeah.
somebody in the chat says that they heard that the phone went off and they heard a beeping for an hour, and now they have a pain or a switch in their neck.
Really?
Somebody in the chat right now, Matt.
Okay. So the test was only supposed to last a minute, but the broadcast was for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was
Now see now
working,
that's not,
and for 30
okay.
minutes, people's phones in cubicles were going off, and they had to slowly turn them. I had my phone off when that happened. I didn't
Yep.
have my phone on at all for 30 minutes. I turned the whole thing off. You know,
Okay.
people
Let
didn't
me
know what
let me
was
just
going
try
on.
something. Okay, give me one second. Let me
Okay.
just try this. If you guys can take this seriously now, just listen to this and just tell me afterwards, okay?
Sounds like you're hitting a pipe.
Okay, good. Chills. You should feel the chills. It's good. Just breathe deep. Okay. Now, what that's going to do is your frontal lobe, your back of your gray matter, your brain, it
Mhm.
should free the negative frequency. Like, you know how you get like, your muscles tense in your back? It's just like that. It frees the frequency of your brain. So I do that every day, every morning. And if I can, I'll do it in the afternoon too. And what I believe that what transpired was that frequency that went out. If you were a certain age, because what I'm trying to conduct, the personal job that I have is trafficking, and I think that what they are trying to do, and this is all for learning purposes and entertainment purposes only. Uh, so the thing is that I've noticed that the elderly people of the retirement community were kind of like vanished in my area in Arizona. And I was trying to research it, and I was getting nowhere because no one wanted to give me anything. They would never wanted to give me any information on, like, what was this, how many of this is happening, this, where, and this, that. I have to say those
Right.
words because if I say something else, I don't want to, disrespect your life or have you get, caught up. But the thing is like, if you get rid of the old knowledge, then there's no knowledge to give out, right?
Right. That's true. The old knowledge is the
So
key factor.
exactly. So I think when they did that, and I mean, out of all of my days of on this
Hmm.
planet, I've never seen them do this test for 30 minutes ever. Okay, and what I'm perturbed by is that um, Mr. Elon is supporting this through their Skylink.
Oh, Elon Musk, when you say he was supporting this, are you saying, and my name is CmdrAleon, the host of the whole show, are you saying that he supported 30 minutes of this emergency broadcast system test?
I believe so, and
And,
I would hope I'm wrong,
where
but
are you getting that from, John? Where is the source of that information coming from?
it's coming from his satellites. So when I linked up to today and I tried to follow the source, it would hit me out of the interstellar comms, which is that comes into Quastar, which is one of his programs,
Hmm.
and that Bill Clinton signed back in 1996. That if and he was
Nassar,
also in agreement. Go ahead.
wasn't it the Nassar-Jassar Treaty?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Well,
Okay.
Starshine
So
is
then
saying
when
Starshine says my brother's in the government, and he said it's not true.
I don't trust nobody in the government.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing that Ronald Reagan said. If the government says, come with me, it's okay. We'll take care of you. That's not something that they do, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm just reading
but now,
comments from people because that's what I do on the show. But go ahead.
right. But I'm not knocking him, I'm not knocking him that he's one of the negatives. I'm just saying that I've never encountered, this whole transition of me going, against their policy of British Columbia, where they're not even associated us as a group anymore. They're segregating all those situations, and they're doing whatever they can by whatever, if we're awakening or if we're doing this truth search, and they will try to manipulate it in every way possible. But the thing is that if you have an open mind and you have the protection, there's nothing you have to block because you're already protected by your higher self, which is you, correct?
Right. Right. When you say higher self, like I work at a very high frequency, so even if I had my phone on, I wouldn't have been affected by anything because I won't allow
Correct.
it to
Right.
happen.
Right.
People forget something. With all the fear-based stuff about what this was today, people
Yeah.
forget one key point, that if you are aware of who you are, if you are awakened of who you are, you
Right.
can protect yourself with a bubble of light, Christed light, and no frequency of energy, be it whatever, can come into your boundary of your being unless you allow it to. That's the way it works. As far as Elon Musk goes, I've said it before, I don't trust him. I read his energy. I don't
Right.
trust him whatsoever. I tell
And we
people,
know
do
he's
not
lying
trust him
about
forever. Don't
exposure.
ever trust him. Don't do that.
Now
It,
this is the
good.
symbol that if you meditate on a symbol like this, and you can manipulate this however you want, you can put it however you want. But when you have this, they come in symbols of like this, and it's linking up the parts of your mind, and when you're taking in like the vitamin H, and you have the mass nerve tissue, the cranium, the gray matter versus the white matter. If you have the correct uh, vitamins and everything, they're not using uh, weapons of like those things that we watch on cartoons, the pew pews and stuff like that. They're not using that anymore. They're using these
Mm-hmm.
and these
Mm-hmm.
and these. Okay, and so whatever they can do, they will do it. And here, let's see. See,
And
is
can you
already
explain
on.
what these, when you're saying they're using these, and these for my audience, not everybody knows, what are these things they're using, just so we can put it into words for
Electromagnetic wave.
129 people.
Electromagnetic waves. So, like, if you're vibrating your vortex and you have your own field around you, right? I'm gonna show you that right now.
He's talking about the stuff
Hey,
that
I got
Shy,
something to add on
the
to this when
weapons
you
that
guys get
Shy
done.
were talking about.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about, yeah,
I,
that's right. Yep.
I took two different illnesses or symptoms,
Yeah.
microwave sickness and influenza, and I overlapped them, and it's all the symptoms of COVID.
Right,
Interesting.
right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
they're dead on. Like you put
Yeah.
both of them together, they're similar, but there's enough differences that it makes up all the symptoms of
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Okay, so there's
Interesting.
18 pyramids in the real pyramids that they have left throughout the earth as there is. But the millennial
Okay, let me slow you down. So there's 18 pyramids around the planet
and
that are confirmed?
right that are stationary, and we're pyramids as we are, as long as you know how to ground yourself. Okay, because you harvest your energy as well. If you could take your hands, put them together, but don't touch, right? And you want to go back and forth. So you're going like this, but you're not touching,
Yeah.
right? And you want to put them together. So when you
Yeah.
do that, can't you feel that energy? And if you don't feel energy, then that's the one that's you're not you're an NPC, what they call them, I guess. But I don't believe
Yeah.
that either. I just don't think that you're being awoken yet. And I'm not trying to try to confuse anybody, but what I'm trying to put together is the world of the Mayans back in the day. They tell us that their ancestors came from the Pleiadians, and they first arrived in the Atlantic, where they created the first civilization 26,000 years ago of that cycle of the Mayan calendar. And each person noticed that in the pyramids, they all came back as Naribian, the Russian one, and the golden arch, the caps that are put on there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you
Right.
if you look at chakras,
Who said chakras?
I did.
Okay.
And
What
what one thing, huh?
were there crystallized structures on top of the pyramids? Because that's what I understand.
Yes, okay. And so the ones that's left is the Washington Monument. The Washington Monument is 555 feet tall. If you add the one that's in front, that makes it 660 feet tall. So if you understand what that means is that when you're reaching to the point now this is probably right about here. That's
Mm-hmm.
about 600 something feet tall right here. Okay. And so when you're reaching up to that, they harvest that energy. They can use a gold cap. Now, gold is one of the most highest conductors there is, but it also repels. And if you take 1 ounce of gold, you can make 6 miles with that 1 ounce. If you stretch it out. And if you pound it out, you can pound it out to a certain amount of square feet. But the thing is that they shoot that energy and they harvest it, and then it goes into the Statue of Liberty, and the Statue of Liberty gets a hit a certain amount of times a year. I think it's 600 times, and then it goes all the way back to the Eiffel Tower, and the Eiffel Tower shoots it back after it regenerates it to the Vatican, and that harvests that energy for that entity that doesn't get the real energy that we do, because they can't harbor it, they can't make it, because they're not light beings.
So it's John. So you're saying it's an invisible energy pattern once a year that goes bing, 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 and back. Correct? To put it simply.
I don't know when it does it. I just know that when there's a lot of electrical current in the air, that's how they charge it. And that's, when they do the cloud seeding, they do that. But I think what's happening now is that they're using these, let's see. So if you take one of these, you put it in, and and it comes into 3. That's the Star Trek symbol, one of them.
Yeah.
It equals one space-time matter, okay? Here it is right here. Okay. So it comes into dimensions, right? If you understand that when they combine all of their knowledge of the things, like when they put up those cell towers, those are not cell towers. Those are, when you're sleeping, it pulls out your dreams, because that's the most valuable state of your energies and your information that you get from your higher self.
Does everybody?
So if you notice that,
I'm just asking people in the room, people in the show here. Do you understand what he's saying? What John is saying to you on what he's showing you?
and then it goes into these things here. They're like mandalas. I'll show you here. Let me see. So the sine wave of how the Earth is, right? These are all clusters of galaxies, and our galaxy is right here. That's ours, way up there. And this is how far we've gotten, And when we do that, the thing is, let's see, where's the other one? Oh, here's one. I wanted to show you this. If you ever want to, you have UFO detector, the electromagnetic anomalies that come off of the ships that or the activity, you can purchase one of those on this website here, the ITER, the new energy wave of energy.
Yeah. Where do you get the UFO detector?
From that website.
What website?
I think it's this one right here.
UFOSI.com?
Yeah.
What's that? If anybody wants to get a UFO detector, hold on a minute. www.ufosi.com. UFO detector.
So let's say that your neighbor came over. He goes, "Hey man, there was a UFO last night in my backyard." Now, if you have your UFO detector, what's gonna detect is the electromagnetic particles that came off, because they have a high amount of radiation, but it's not a detrimental to our bodies. It's detrimental to our minds.
Right, but to the UFOSI, this detector, can it detect non-radioactive spaceships or only radioactive?
It can detect all of them. It'll give you. It has a graph on there, and it'll tell you if it was a flying or a orb or a being that was like beamed down or something like that. You know what I mean?
And is that website active? The UFOSI.com?
It has been. Yeah, it has been since 1953.
Really, 1953? How could that be possible? We didn't have internet.
You didn't. I didn't. They did. Everything that we've got, like the flat. Okay, remember when we had the flat screen TV? We had this big old giant tube. that's the way for them to get us caught up, like our phones. They've already had the flat screen phones. They've already had the Motorola, all that. They just give us that, so we're like, ooh, look at that, ooh, phone, like, oh, squirrel. We're caught on that. When they're over there with their wrist phones, like that pop up on their thing, and they're like tapping on their thing. That's what they're doing. And
Yeah.
I built one of those a long time ago for my suit that
Well,
I wore for work.
now
But
people are trying to find the website, John, and they're having trouble with
yeah.
the website that you mentioned.
Okay, so when you go on now, if your internet is, you got to check all your settings. You got to make sure that you have
Let me ask you a
up to
question.
date.
Could you have the ability to go on that website and show us it on your screen, or no?
Yes, actually, well, not my screen, but I gotta hold on one second here.
Okay.
I got
You
another
just got to
phone here
show
that I
us,
can do
because
that.
I'm going to try this after I get off the show. We're going to sign out of
Absolutely.
here about 12:30 tonight, and all the people that wanted to go on here tonight, we'll have you on tomorrow night.
Atlantic
I just
Technologies,
I'm
yeah.
not. I do
Chris,
see people want to get on here. Believe me, I am not unaware.
let's see here.
So we're going to
Put
try
on
to have
my
John show us the website, because I'm interested to see this website. I want to see, and I'm sure most of my audience would like to see this website, because so far everyone's saying it's they go there and they can't find anything. Katie's saying not the screen, just saying have an EMF meter, but it doesn't detect UFOs all the time or beings, and that's good to know, Katie. I mean, if that we need to know these things so we can learn from each other. So I appreciate that information, Katie. Let's see, I got some amazing stuff. Wait a minute, whoops. And Mary Moonborn, we're going to follow you. She's at 69 followers. If you got some amazing stuff, we got to get her up to 1,000. But if we get you up, Mary Moonbeam, to 200, I can have you on the show here. So everybody help her out. Sarah Davis, welcome to Encounters. We'll be on here to 12:30 a.m. This is the East Coast, so we're on the East Coast of the planet, and I am welcoming and thanking everybody for being here. Oh, Marie Moonborn. Yeah, everyone follow her. She's got 69 followers. We need to get her up to 200, so we'll do it. We've gotten other people up to 1,000. We're gonna, we want to elevate everybody. That's what
so
the
just
show's
like
about.
this.
Okay, oh yeah, I've seen that. I see that on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay.
So that thing
Now
is a detector.
one of them right now. I'm gonna pull up the site here that I was just
Wow.
on.
I've seen that
Come on.
detector, everybody. That detector is
Okay.
available
Now
on Amazon.
when you don't have the right browser, it does this. So you need to get the app that supports that.
Okay.
Because what they do is they give you the basic. Google gives you the basic search apps that they want you to, so they can control it. If you can't, if you are like on like the black web or the dark web, they call it. It's not that anything's crazy. It's just that it's unfiltered. So you just got to have a good a security system. So
But
let me
that
see now.
UFO detector is on Amazon if you don't want to go crazy. I've seen it being sold on Amazon.com. It is available.
Oh, is it really? Is it really on Amazon too?
Oh, yeah. I did some research a long time ago, and it's there.
That's too funny.
Yep. Well, it's getting to about 12:23, so I'm going to kind of wind it down.
Now here it
And
is right
I
here. So that's
do
this.
apologize not getting everybody on here. There was a lot of people wanting to go on. We will get you on tomorrow night, everyone who's been requesting. So, we love you all, but we will get you on, and even new people tomorrow night. Yeah, Katie,
You see that?
it's available on Amazon. Are you on the website?
Yeah, this is the website right here.
What do you want to say, Rachel? I think you want to get in there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I was just in the chat for a while.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Did you
want
want
to,
me to?
No, if you want, I'm going to let everybody unwinding down here for tonight on the show. I want to give
Okay.
everybody a chance to say some final words. Rachel, we'd love to have you back and give us updates with the Pleiadians. You have real direct contact, and I think that is really phenomenal. I mean, there's a lot of people on my show over the months that do have direct contact, beings coming into their room, but you have really beautiful contacts with the Pleiadians. And John, what is that thing you were just showing us before?
These are
That's what
contact points of Mandela's.
Did you
Whoa,
draw
those
So
are
these, or are
cool.
these from a book?
these are from a book,
Okay.
but you got to know how to decipher the ones. Now this is like if you have a what is it called? The theta sleep. You want to start in the process of going in these, and then when you have a certain color, and then you close your eyes, and they put you off. Because I'm trying to, come up with the lens coloring where you could check and put yourself in a state of mind where of the spectrum where you can go and throughout have at ease without when
Yeah.
they go. I can't jump out of my yeah.
You'll figure
Hopefully
it
that
out,
makes
son.
sense.
You'll figure it
Yeah.
out. So we're going to
Yeah.
wind things down a little bit here.
You
And I
got it. You
want,
got it. I'm about to. I'll send you the information. Okay, Commander. I appreciate it.
okay. Hey, John. John is our Tesla guy, and he's always welcome here to give us new information. If you don't understand everything he's talking about, he's brilliant. He's like, he's from another planet for sure, but he's working all this Tesla stuff. He is just really amazing. So, Squishy, we're going to start with you, and we really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story. What final words of wisdom would you like to share with our Encounters audience?
Oh man, so much comes to mind. Um, Pay attention to the little things. That's all I could say is pay attention to little things, because the most change is in the littlest ways. And the Mandela effect, that's been big here lately with me. I don't know what it is. I think it's the
Oh,
timeline
I
shift.
hate that because then it's like deja
Oh,
vu. It's
don't
like, wait a
you?
minit,
The
that
other
wasn't.
night, okay, the other night, I put my lighter on the table right next to me, literally right next to me. 5 minutes later, I go to get it. It's gone. Nobody had been in the garage. I walked around that garage and I hunted for 10 minutes. Finally, I said, screw it. And I sat down. Grabbed my my clipboard, and I was writing something down. And I looked down, and it's on my clipboard. It was just there. And it wasn't there. And it wasn't in my hands. It was just there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
amazing how that
strange.
works, right? Strange
I
stuff,
wanted to
right?
I wanted to tell Rack. How do you pronounce that? RAC?
Rachel,
Rack.
Rachel,
Rack.
Rack,
Okay.
or Rachel.
I go by Rack. Rachel's just my full name.
Okay. I got a trippy numerology sort of deal for you. Cruising down the highway one morning, taking the wife to work, and I noticed this one license plate really stood out to me, and it just kept calling me and said, "Translate me, like I have a message for you." And that's the message that kept going through my mind. So I did. I wrote it down. It was 55. Let's see, 55118A3. So I wrote it all down. I went home and translated it, and it was a whole letter, and it was directed directly to me.
Wh-
Yeah,
How do you translate that? What do you mean you translated it?
numerology. It's all
Oh,
on my
numerology. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
explain that one.
numerology. Yeah, it was a trip. It's a whole letter from God.
Oh,
It,
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That's a
yeah.
trip. Like the numbers. I haven't even studied. I don't know anything about numerology, but like I've been seeing numbers everywhere. And the license plates, like
Oh
I
yeah.
DoorDash for a
Oh
living, so
yeah.
the
Oh
license plates are a big thing for me. And a
yeah.
lot of them say a lot of the same numbers. Like
Yeah.
now it's in the thousands. And like, which
Wow.
is crazy because I just watched a YouTube video where God said if I keep doing art, he'll make my dreams come through 1,000-fold.
Because you're doing what you love. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing. When your heart is fully into it, it cannot be
That's a
denied.
that's a beautiful sentiment.
It really is.
Yep,
You know.
it is.
Hey, I want to thank you all
Yeah.
for being here. I want to let Rachel have any last words of cosmic wisdom, and you'll have to come back, Rachel, because now that I'm following you, you have direct encounters with the Pleiadians. So we always want to get updates, and then we'll go to my co-host James. my best co-host ever and friend out there in Florida. So
I've
what
got such a
final words
snappy
would you like to share,
connection
Rachel?
tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if
My
there's
words of wisdom are that the truth is out there.
and actually the truth is in here.
Yep. Open eyes,
Aren't we
open
all the
ears.
truth?
Right. It's
We
everywhere.
gotta walk
If
the
we are
truth.
if we see it,
Bingo.
right?
I've got
Gotta
such a
walk the
bad
walk, talk the
connection, it's
talk.
not letting me talk.
Yeah.
But when you're
I
on
think
Anyway,
here,
what
walk
did
you're
you
it
in a
like
just
I
safe
say?
talk
space
it
here.
was going somewhere.
Well, when you come on this
Hey, you
show,
guys
it's like
missed
getting onto another
missed that
planet.
last night. That was the theme last night.
Yeah. Now, if you want to see the show, if you
Very
missed any of the
cool.
show, anybody coming in here now, all the shows will be on my YouTube channel, Ashtar Command Spaceship News. If you go there, I'll be downloading this show for the morning, and in the morning I'll put it over to YouTube, and it also goes on my Facebook. I have one big Ashtar Command group, about 5,000 on Facebook, and so I'll share it with a number of people out there. So I want to thank Rachael, Squishy. Thank you all for coming here. And those who didn't get on the show tonight, we'll have you on tomorrow night, I promise. So, as I always say, be patient. We'll get to everybody. We had a lot of people wanting to get on here tonight, and I'm looking at the time. I said, if I did that again, I'd be on till like 3 a.m. So,
Yeah.
Louise, Rachael is in direct contact with Pleiadian beings directly. So, yeah, she's very connected to that. So I want to thank everybody. Rachael, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks
thank
very
you.
much for coming on here. Squishy, nice to meet you as well. This is CmdrAleon. I'm a contactee from the 60s with space beings that look just like us. They were in a spaceship, and they had in the center of the craft, it was blinking lights, and there was like a fog around the cul-de-sac of where I used to live as a kid. And I've had sightings pretty much most of my life. I saw two big ships as a short story. One was about 2 football fields in length. That was about 15, 16 years ago. And they were showing me geometry. It was like a huge, like a mothership or whatever you want to call it, but it was a huge ship. And I saw it for 35 minutes. This is before we had all this stuff on the internet. I just could sit there in the parking lot of this little shopping plaza at night. And, it was just right there. I just heard the voice say, look up, coming out of a club that does blues and reggae. It was a DJ. And I came and I heard the voice say, look up. And there was this big ship spinning around over this condo complex about a couple 100 feet above that. And then there were woods to the northwest, a really wooded area. So, yeah, thank you everybody for being here. We love you all. And we will see you again tomorrow night. We might be on, we'll be on tomorrow night. We might be on a little bit tomorrow morning, but more will be on tomorrow night. So be well. Download the C5 app, everybody. If you don't have the Stephen Greer app, download it for $10. It's one time, and you can learn very quickly, read all the protocols and things, the tones. You can learn how to make contact with our space brothers. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a good night. Good to see you all.
Night, y'all.